Next game we're previewing is the Raiders and the Commanders. I know Walt's in the chat, so we get to talk about his Raiders here. This one's in Washington. Jaden Daniels, as far as I have seen, still like completely day to day. That is what Dan Quinn said. He is quite literally day to day. They have Marcus Mariota, who has come in relief for Jaden Daniels before, and so he is a backup quarterback that they're obviously confident in. But what do you think about this matchup here, Dalton? What do you want to talk about? Which side of the ball you starting with?
So I think, Jaden Daniels with the sprained knee, even if he does play, I think we'll probably expect him to run a little bit less, and that's okay because I think with this Raiders defense, it's a Pete Carroll defense. You know exactly what you're getting. Cover 3, 51% of the time, leading the league by a pretty good margin for the Raiders there. So I think when you look at Jaden Daniels, I go, okay, let's see the matchup versus cover 3 in his career, and he has just been outstanding. 85.4 passing grade, completing 73% of his passes, 9.3 yards per attempt, 7 big-time throws, only 1 turnover-worthy play. This is just the matchup that you're going to get. The Raiders, they don't have even the players right now to disguise and mess around with all the looks. You know what you're getting out of them. They're relying on their guys to play fundamentally sound football, and honestly, they haven't really been playing too well in the secondary. Guys like Eric Stokes and Darnay Holmes. Caillou Blue-Kelly's been okay, but we know they lack talent in the secondary. I think this is a big opportunity for this Washington passing game to get back on track. Even if Daniels has to win from the pocket with the compromised knee, I think even at 80-90%, he can get the ball to Deebo Samuel, to Terry McLaurin, to Zach Ertz. Even Jalen Lane's going to play more this week. I believe Noah Brown is out. So I think Daniels has a real opportunity to get back on track after a tough game against Green Bay, and we'll see obviously how he's recovering from this knee injury. And even if it's Marcus Mariota, we saw when he had to play last year, he played well. I think the Commanders can get back on track here on offense at home.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what to think of the Raiders at this point right now, because week 1, Geno comes out, he's on fire, right? Throws for over 300 yards. I think he almost threw for 400 yards. I think it was like 360 something. And they end up winning that game against New England Patriots. And it looked great on that side of things. Last week against the Chargers on Monday Night Football, they struggled just because it was, the early turnovers, not great, but I think they just struggled to attack down the field anyways. They don't really have a run game, which is weird to say with Ashton Jeanty, and especially because I felt like this offensive line was pretty good last year. So far, through 2 games, Ashton Jeanty's got 30 attempts, 81 rushing yards, -3 yards before contact so far this season. When you look at the Raiders' offensive line, there's only 2 players on their offensive line with an impact run blocking percentage above 10%. When you're an offensive line, like you want it, so impact run blocking percentage, I should explain that. It's just, like I said, with defeated, it's the opposite. It's how often you are gaining a positive, an impact play. So again, offensive line play, the way that we grade that is, hey, if you block your guy correctly and the rest of the offensive line, blocks their guys correctly, if you individually block your guy correctly, okay, you did your job. That is a 0. If you went above and beyond, like if you locked some guy up and you drove him all the way to the sideline and you created a huge hole for the running back, then obviously you're getting a positive grade there. So for the Raiders, they have 2 players on their team so far this year that have that impact run blocking percentage above 10%, which is what you want. You'd love for something to be, around 12 to 18%. I think it would be great. Some of the best are in the 20%, but 12 to 18%, that's good. That's fine. That's what you want. Last year, they had 4 players on their offensive line averaging double digits, so above 10% in an impact run blocking percentage. So the impact run blocking from the offensive line isn't there. They're not creating the holes that they need to for Ashton Jeanty, and the offense just isn't balanced right now. What we saw week 1 and week 2 were the 2 sides of the coin. Okay, if Geno Smith is on fire passing the football, guess what? There's a good chance they're going to win the football game. They're going to score enough points. That's what happened against the Patriots. Against the Chargers, Geno didn't have a great day. Bunch of turnover early. Certainly, it was not great in the passing game. They have no run game to lean on to sort of balance it out when the passing game might not be great. Now, the kicker here is Washington's 3rd in the NFL so far through 2 weeks. Of course, it's a small sample size, but they're 3rd in the NFL in overall run defense grade as a team. They're also 32nd in the NFL in coverage grade from their secondary players, so corners and safeties. So you would think that the script is going to be closer to that of which the Raiders played the Patriots than the one that we saw them play against the Chargers. And if that's the case, I think this game's going to be pretty close, even with the numbers that you mentioned and how good Jaden Daniels has been against cover 3, which we know the Raiders are going to want to run. I think this is a true coin flip. I went back and forth. Ultimately, I gave the Commanders the win in this one. I've got them winning 21-17 simply because it is at home for them. If this was in Las Vegas, I think I might have had it flip. This is a coin flip game to me because of all of those reasons that I mentioned there. Who do you have winning this one?
I've got the Commanders also a little bit higher scoring, 27-21. I think you mentioned it with the Commanders' struggles in their secondary. Geno's going to attack them downfield. He didn't get to attack the Chargers downfield effectively at all because their secondary is so good. Both offenses here have an opportunity to go off. I just think Daniels and the way that he's so safe with the football and the ability of those weapons, I think especially with Deebo Samuel working after the catch, that could be a big factor in this game. I think the Commanders do win a high-scoring game.